tables in Javelin is the most involved process we have in terms of adding simple HTML code. This is because tables are complex, and we want to make sure that they are created properly. Tables should only be used for tabular data. Tabular data is data that only makes sense within the context of a table. It should not be used for presentation purposes. To add a table, click the Insert Modify Table button. This pop-up will set the initial style of the table. Calls will set the initial number of columns in the table. Rows will set the initial number of rows. It's okay if you don't know the exact number of rows or columns you will need, as you can add and remove these later. Cell padding is the space inside the cell. Cell spacing is the space between the cells. Alignment is where the table will appear on the page. The table will automatically default to left alignment, but you can choose center or right. This input does not change the alignment of the text. I like to center my tables. Border will set the width of the border. 0 will have no border, 1 will have a thin border. We suggest that you don't go above 1. Width will set the width of the table. Numbers will give it a set pixel width, but we suggest that you use percentages. 100% will be the full width of the region, 50% will be half the width of the region, and so on. I want mine to be about 3/4 the width. If you have a lot of information in your table, I suggest that you use 100% width so the content will stretch nicely across the region. Height will set the height of the table. It works the same as width, but we suggest that you don't use it, as the content will increase the height of the table automatically. Class is almost never used. Selecting Table Caption will give the table an area for a caption. It is a good idea to label your tables for accessibility purposes. Click Insert to insert the table. After the table is inserted, type your caption at the top. If you selected a border, the caption area will not be outlined, but it will still be there. You should give the table a descriptive name that describes what the table's purpose is. To type inside of a cell, just click inside a cell to start typing. It's important to note that hitting Tab will not take you to the next cell. Either click the cell or use the left, right, up, and down arrow keys. To modify a table that's already been created, click the table and then click the Insert Modify Table button and make any necessary changes in the pop-up. The only thing you cannot do is add and remove columns and rows. I'll explain how to do that next. Click Update to finalize any changes or cancel if you change your mind. To add additional rows, you use these buttons, Insert Row Above or Insert Row Below. To use them, click on any cell on a row either above or below where you want the new one, and then click the corresponding button. Since I want to add a new bottom row, I'll click on a cell in the current bottom row. And then I'll click Add Row Below. Now that I have a new row, I can add more data. Adding a new column is similar to adding a new row, but instead of above and below, the options are before and after. Click on any cell in the column adjacent to where you want the new one, then click the appropriate button. I again want to add a column to the end of the table. And once again, I can add more data. Deleting rows and columns is as easy as adding them. To delete a row, first click on a cell in the row you want to delete, and then click the Delete Row button. Removing columns is the same with a different button. Click a cell in the column you want to delete, then click the Remove Column button. Remember to save your work.